So you've grown as a UX UI designer, and now it's time to showcase your skills and impress potential employers by creating your own portfolio website. Before you start, it's always a good idea to gather inspiration from the work of others. In this video, we'll take a look at 5 creative and interactive design portfolio websites made in 2022. These innovative and unique websites will hopefully serve as some inspiration for you to showcase your talents and abilities in creative ways. Just a heads up, today's focus will be on uniqueness and originality. Later videos will go into greater detail about other aspects of online portfolios. If you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see, please leave them in the comments. We'd love to read them. And with that, let's jump into the first website. So the first portfolio we're going to be looking at is by the UX UI designer Muskat, and it looks quite interesting at first glance. The centerpiece is this rotating rock or meteorite, which actually serves as the central theme for this entire site. More on that in a moment, but the site is set up in a pretty non-linear fashion, like multi-dimensional space that can be explored in many different ways. First off, you can click the navigation button, triggering kind of a nice pop of color, and then access to the main menu. You can also go back, and when you hover over this meteorite or rotating meteorite, animations appear telling you to click. How can you resist that? You can see that the stone is a central visual and semantic symbol that ties together the structure and content of this whole site. It's clear that the stone is a metaphor for UX UI design, and there are definitely some meaningful parallels between the two fields. I'm a sucker for a good metaphor. Every piece of copy elaborates on this metaphor a little bit more. Using a consistent theme to make a viewer feel like they're on a journey is a great way to tell a story. These visual aesthetics are pretty amazing. Just look at how detailed these 3D rock pieces are. Let's take a look at how the designer elaborated on skills and the design process. This designer's skills are themed as natural history museum cards that flash as you hover over them. It's pretty unique. In the workflow section, Muskat incorporates some asteroid belt animations with stones spinning and moving around these elliptical orbs. You have design, deliver, and distribute. Never seen anything quite like this before. It's pretty cool. The site is definitely worth looking into further. All right, so this next portfolio may be an acquired taste. I can't imagine anyone being apathetic towards Lucas de Melo's work here, but even if you don't like it at first, you'll probably stay a while to explore his fantasy world with planets and strange creatures. And there are plenty of lovely things to discover here. Right off the bat, I think it's super cool how this designer takes the viewer's attention away from what looks like a pretty standard page with a tagline that kind of unpacks into this alternate universe with flying saucers and this strange like pink creature floating here. It's obvious that all the objects were meticulously detailed with great care. Okay, as we scroll down, this pink creature appears to be kind of the main character of the universe. I'm guessing it's some kind of an avatar representing the designer's mood or spirit. If so, it's a really interesting way to go about kind of showing your personality instead of just putting kind of a picture and a bio and an about section. In the next section, we have a chance to see how good Lucas is at graphic and motion design. You have a look around a bit, and the site encourages visitors to really interact here. For example, if you move your mouse over the picture with these closed eyes in the corner, each section kind of reveals a cool animated scene behind it. Okay, what do we have here in this section? It's dedicated to UX UI, and it looks like, yeah, we can drag and drop every one of these objects. So the title cards, the buttons, the taglines, and so on. This is super fun. I really feel like this is kind of the future of websites. As we scroll down, here's our pink alien friend again. Check out this crazy animation of its third eye. It does not look happy. But so this is the end of the page. It looks like we have to do a bit of digging to find Lucas's portfolio. Maybe it's in this main menu hamburger icon. Yep, that's it. Not sure if it's a great idea to hide your portfolio that way, but let's check out one of his projects to see how it works. When it comes to real business, it seems like all the fantasy seems to be left behind. Each case is built into a category. and each has its own page written with a description and a short video. Nothing extra. I think that's pretty smart. Next up is a site as glamorous as France itself. The personal website of Squarespace designer Lionel Taurus has a balanced layout and elegant dark modes, serif lettering in different sizes and styles, and a lot of spacing. It also has some very distinctive features such as a singing cursor that releases audible visual chirping. You'll see in a minute. Okay, now that we're into the site, I've got to click on this bird icon and see where it takes us. I'm just too curious. Okay, now this is pretty cool. So it morphs into this sparrow and it says hold for a flight break. So let's do this. Okay, now we're on this hypnotic flight over an ocean, which is very cool and relaxing, but I'm not sure if it's justified from a usability standpoint, as this type of animation would likely consume a ton of energy and hardware resources. But there's no doubt that it's beautiful. And I'm also a sucker for these ambient type environments, so I like it a lot. But what's really worth your attention is the portfolio section of this site. So let's get to that. In comparison to the previous portfolios where the case studies was kind of the most basic, this one is quite impressive. You can see how Lionel has organized the visual representation of his projects. It's a filing cabinet-like tab system with extendable sections. It looks really high-tech and trendy. If we click on any of these case studies, we'll be able to appreciate the excellent motion design applied by Lucas here. He also combines flat design with 3D models, which is pretty engaging. But at the same time, you may have noticed that every case contains a lot of visuals, but very little text. This definitely allows the visitor to enjoy the beauty of the interfaces and graphics, but they won't have much opportunity to figure out kind of what the project is about and how it was implemented. Let me know if you think that works in the comments. But all in all, great job by Lionel. Okay, to say that this next website is imaginative is an understatement. David from Germany says that he is the designer who makes beautiful user interfaces, but a standard set of UX design skills wouldn't be enough to make such a brilliant site. This design obviously couldn't have been done without some heavy artillery of 3D modeling and programming. I love the idea to make a personal website look like an apartment while also referencing kind of the popular genre of real-life simulation games. As we scroll down, we see an avatar description with personality traits, skills, and a digital matrix of characters in this futuristic-looking tube connected to a computer. The UI quality is fantastic. Beautiful colors, excellent composition, exceptional 3D models, and perfect animation effects. As far as case studies go, however, he didn't go into many details here. Unlike the previous sites that we've seen, which had separate pages and longer descriptions, this one only has a list of works with a short description and links to other resources. This makes sense to me after seeing what we've seen on the site. A visitor may not need more proof of David's skills and abilities, but this is definitely subjective. And then we get down here to the contact section where you can ask any questions you may have by filling out this simple form. Also, his avatar actually turns into a real picture here, which I think is a nice touch. But did you notice how simple this site is? It's pretty short, it's just one page, but it contains actually everything you need. But at the same time, I kind of want to stay here a bit longer, click around a bit. But to make UX this simple and engaging is a true art of the designer, so great job, David. And the final site we'll look at today is from Kenta Toshikura. Hope I'm saying that right. He's a designer from Japan, and I'd say this really captures the kind of the mystery of the country, like a mashup of Japanese arts and art house black and white films from the 70s. But when we get into the landing page, the first thought is kind of, where am I and what should I do? But in reality, everything turns out to be pretty clear and intuitive here. As I scroll down following the tooltip at the bottom of the page, I realize now that these kind of abstract pictures are in fact case studies that Kenta invites us to explore here. So this is kind of a nothing extra approach. No introductions, not even a word about this designer, who he is. Just look at my works and that's it. Makes sense because visitors generally become interested in a designer portfolio before looking to learn more about their personalities. Despite the apparent minimalism of the user interface, it's really not that simple. On the stationary screen, notice how these page elements and objects kind of rotate this invisible axis. This is really creative and pretty visually appealing. And these amazing spatial and 3D effects that were obviously painstakingly made for each element, both on the page and inside each sphere. They seem to follow very geometric rules that match kind of the size and shape and the movement of these objects in the real world. Let's select the case study and see what's inside. Well, the 3D modeling and motion effects are even more impressive here on the landing page. Just pay attention to these complex coordination between like the text and the visuals together. It's really mesmerizing and pretty futuristic. I have to say that the quality of the UI shows some superb graphic and motion design skills. And in addition to the option of returning to the home page at the end of each case study, we can move to the next one, which is really, really convenient for the user experience perspective. So those were 5 super creative portfolio websites from 2022. Hopefully they were able to spark some inspiration for yourself when you go to showcase your own skills. We'll link them all below so you can explore for yourself. I understand that some of these seem to require pretty expert level design skills to pull off, but if your portfolio site, as long as it's user-friendly, visually appealing, and insightful, it has the ability to attract potential employers. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments and share topics that you'd like to hear from us in the future. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you don't miss our weekly videos that are upcoming. All the best, and I'll see you in the next one.